Okay, it's a nice rainy day outside. It's a good day to do a Q&A. We haven't done one of those in quite a while, and several of you have asked some really good questions, so hopefully these will answer yours. Moriarty asks, what is the difference between an odachi and a no dachi? There is no difference. Odachi just means great or giant sword, so it's talking about the length and the size. And no dachi is just a classification of that, which means like a field sword. It was used on the battlefield. So don't get caught up in the little names like O and No. They're often describing the same thing but in a different context. No difference between the two. They're big, big swords. Hand to Fist asks, I am 22 years old from Fort Worth, Texas. I instruct part-time at my sensei's dojo when he is not there. Any tips on someone my age earning the respect of students? It's not easy becoming a martial art teacher. It's hard enough, as you guys know, just to be a student and to be consistent and come to class. I mean, that's more than enough to ask. And 98% of all people who practice martial arts will be what's called a casual practitioner. When you're talking about someone who becomes a teacher or one day a senior instructor, many are called, few are chosen. Remember that. And I don't mean like something chooses you. It's just that the odds of becoming a teacher in martial arts are very slim, and the odds of sticking with it are even slimmer. Wherever you are at your school, you are already teaching, and clearly you're not comfortable with it yet. That will come with time, just like anything else. It's a skill set, just like you learned your martial arts and you're still continuing to learn. You learn how to become a teacher. It is really difficult. A lot of people are afraid to speak in public. They get really nervous, self-conscious. This is all part of learning how to teach. So earning the respect of students is going to come with time. There's all kinds of isms in teaching that you have to overcome in order to stay a teacher. Ageism, so if you're a younger person, I don't know, oh, you're 22 years old, yeah, it's going to be hard for you to instruct someone who's 55 on how to live their life morally when you're 22 years old. When I was a young teacher, age 17 or 18, my teacher would throw me to the lions. He would just stick me in front of an adult class and say, go teach. And I'm like, but sir, I'm 17 years old. He said, doesn't matter. Let your technique carry it. And you're going to make mistakes. But I felt very wrong teaching older people when I was 17 years old. And there were some older guys that didn't respect me because of my age, and I kind of understand that. Who is anyone at age 18 to tell someone how to live their life when you've barely lived yourself? And that is something in martial arts that you will have to overcome. You start as a coach, you might be 14 or 15, and you often will teach youth students who are younger than you because they'll have that respect there. But yeah, ageism is a huge thing. Also, sexism is there. So if you're a female wanting to teach, you're going to have to overcome that. There's a natural patriarchal mindset in the martial arts, especially in Eastern cultures. I mean, women back in the old days of Japan were there to serve. They were there to serve their husband, and when he died, they had to serve their son. They were not allowed to remarry, only the men were. There was a lot of weird stuff, we would say nowadays, back then. It's much better now. But I know some female teachers who have had trouble with some men with machismo listening to what they say. And they have to kind of get through that and command the space and command the floor and to make the men understand, look, I'm your instructor. You will listen to what I say. I have more experience. But that is a hard thing to overcome. And there are other things. Racism could be part of it. There's all kinds of things that you have to overcome. But being a martial artist, you won't last long if you don't overcome those things. And there's no real easy way, because I don't know each situation. I don't know your situation. But let me just say that the respect of the students is not something that you command. It is something that will be earned over time because they see that you are doing it. You're not just yelling at them. I always tell the instructors and the coaches, get out on the floor and do it with them. Don't just yell from a pulpit. That will come in time. Don't worry about it. It takes a long time, but people's respect will come over time, or they will go away and quit. And people who aren't teachable, there's a lot of them out there that just seem to think that they know it all and they really don't have any direct experience, but they just think that they're the king of everything. Those people who aren't teachable will leave because their ego will prevent them from becoming a student. Their arrogance will keep them in a little bubble in their life. But those who are open-minded and hopefully respect you, I don't care what age you are, if you have something to teach me, I don't care if you're 5 or 50, if I don't know a technique and you're helping me get better at my martial arts or in my life, you are my sensei. So age, race, gender should have nothing to do with a martial art teaching ability. It is a skill set that is open to everyone to learn. But the odds of becoming a teacher are slim because it's extremely difficult, and it takes not just 4 years, it takes decades to become a teacher. Brian from Broken Bow, Nebraska. Can you become skilled with a sword training solo from home? I feel as if I'm getting better than I was last year, and I practice 4 times a week outside at our farm. That's wonderful in Nebraska, Brian. Yes, sure, you can become better with a sword by practicing by yourself. Solo training is a huge part of Kenjutsu and Iaido and all that. Yes, go out in your farm, grab a stick or a sword and go and practice. I did as a kid. I was always out in the cornfields by myself with a sword, sharp swords at the time, cutting down corn and trees and branches and you name it. I was cutting leaves off of trees. So yes, you can become much better. I probably have a picture of some old photos. I don't know if I have one. Yeah, here's one. Here's one of me when I was like 16, 17, hitting a tree. I don't know if you can see that, if it'll focus. With a saburito. Saburito is a very heavy, big, huge, like oar, boken. Heavy wood, it builds up your muscles. So I was hitting trees and stuff even at that age. So yeah, solo training is great. But you need another person if you want to be really good with the sword. What good is it if you've never been attacked? You have to feel the breath of the opponent, the heat, the body coming at you, learning the distancing and the timing, and his sword coming at you is going to scare the bejesus out of you. You must have a teacher at some point, and you must have other people to fight with in Kenjutsu. You can't just be by yourself and even imagine yourself winning anything. Solo training is wonderful. I recommend it highly. I do it myself, but it can only take you so far. As with everything, you have to get to an instructor. You have to get to a school so that you can fight and spar together and have resistance from your opponent and get hit and learn, I mean, just how to have the shock in your bokken when you hit something hard. It sends a shockwave down your hands. You have to get used to stuff like that. You're not going to get that solo training as much. Trekkie Dog asks, what do you think of the vaccines? Will we lock down again? Trekkie, I'm not qualified to speak on that. I have opinions, but as soon as you give your opinion, you alienate half the people, you upset people, and it's no one's business. And what I say is absolutely not going to influence anybody one way or the other. It shouldn't. I am not a biologist, I'm not a doctor, so for me to speak on that, I'm just not qualified. I have opinions, of course, but it is not smart if you run a dojo or anything, really, when you start to speak of politics and religion and your beliefs and you try to shove things down people's throats one way or the other. That is not intelligent, that is not wise. I see people online all the time on platforms trying to spew out what they believe and how you must believe what they believe or they'll dislike you, or you can't train at my dojo if you don't believe this or that. I try to say to them, shut the hell up. What are you doing going on a social platform and spewing your ignorance or your opinions? First of all, your students don't want to hear that. They want you to shut up and teach them martial arts. That's our job. We're not politicians. I didn't sign up for that. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm a martial art teacher. Who am I to tell you who to vote for or what to think or what to wear? It's such common sense, but I don't know why people feel the need to connect and get their opinion out there when they know they're going to alienate and lose half of their students. And I have seen many schools shut down because Joe Schmo, black belt, can't shut his trap about stuff. And he just feels like, look, I need to tell you what I think, and you better darn well listen and agree with what I think. It's such common sense to me to say, shut up. Don't write that stuff. It's no one's business. That is why we call it a personal life. It's personal. It's just such... I don't get it. I don't get that. Deranged Cartel. Thoughts on UFC drama and fighting between fighters? No, not really. I don't watch much UFC. I don't follow it. I don't follow the drama. I know a few UFC fighters, and I know that that's part of the shtick, is to fight and battle and bring on violence with words and call each other's mothers names and try to be brave and stick out your chest and say I'm better than you, I'm stronger than you. That's not what martial arts is about to me, and everyone has an opinion. If you want to go and train as a UFC fighter, more power to you. They're wonderful combatants. They're in great physical shape. They're wonderful at fighting. I wouldn't want to go in the ring with them. But what is your purpose in studying martial arts? If you want to be a ring fighter for 3 or 4 years and destroy your body and make some money, that's up to you. But I want a long-term martial art that I can study from 15 to 100, and I've chosen that as my life. The chances of getting in a fight with someone who is highly skilled at martial arts is probably 1 in about 3,000. It is unbelievably rare. How many of you out there have fought a UFC fighter? Probably a handful of you. That's it. So the martial arts that we study are way more than enough to handle the average person and above average fighter. Is it perfect? Heck no. Are there holes in our martial art? Yes, tons of them. Do we work on fixing those holes? Yes. Is a UFC fighter going to beat me up? Oh yeah, probably. I might rip his eye out in the process, or walk away or run because I'm smart. But you don't compare martial arts that way. You don't say which is the best for this, because a lot of guys I know that do jiu-jitsu are fantastic practitioners, but they have no clue how to do stand-up fighting or weapon self-defense or mind training. And at the same time, a lot of ninja guys I know have no clue how to escape the mount or apply an omoplata or escape the guard or anything like that. So there's weaknesses in all of our martial arts. It would be ignorant for me to say that all martial arts are perfect. None are. That's why I train 5 days a week all my life, because I want to become better than I was yesterday. And every question that could possibly be asked of me, I have asked myself and 100 other people 1,000 times. I'm 51 years old. I've seen it all and heard it all and done it all. And my younger days and tournaments and fighting and stuff, yeah, that was a certain time that I had to go through to become the person I am now. But I wouldn't do it at my age. Of course not. But you go through stages in your martial arts where you want to be the strongest and the best and the fastest and have the biggest muscles, and then that goes away over time. You have to treat martial arts like a fine wine, and it has to age over time. But at the same time, you have to open it up and sip of that cup. You have to study it, practice it, challenge yourself, learn about other martial arts, respect other martial arts. What is your intention on learning martial arts? Everyone is different, so who am I to say what you should do or should not do? Again, it goes back to the last question. Common sense says, keep your mouth shut and let others do what they want to do. Life is short. It's your life. You decide what art you want to study or not, and don't let anyone tell you you can't study that art or it's a bad martial art. Army Guy 999, can you teach me how to defend against hook punches to my face? No. You really need to be in a dojo to learn martial arts. For me to tell you something is kind of useless. There's something called Kuden. Kuden means oral transmission, and that is the traditional way a teacher and student have a relationship in life. For me to tell you, I can tell you all kinds of things about blocking and distancing, but words are meaningless on the internet. I can't show you what to do. And even a Skype call or something, you and I looking at each other on the video, wouldn't help. Books do very little. DVDs do very little. Downloads do very little. Digital downloads, it doesn't matter. You need to get into a dojo, a gym, a training hall in order to learn these skills. It is a skill set that cannot be transmitted just by words. If you want to learn how to defend against punches and not get hit, you need to go to an instructor of that skill set because it's a physical thing. If you want to learn a skill set on how to defend yourself, or if you're being bullied, you need to find a local school that will help you. It does no good for me to tell you, move your foot this way, keep your hands up. That's all theoretical knowledge which does absolutely no good to you, and it would be a disservice for me to tell you that. Anything otherwise, find a local dojo. If it's that important to you, and you ask that question, you'll find the finances, the money, the time, the energy, and you will find a dojo. If you really want that skill set, you have to go out and really look for it and earn it. Mark Reynolds asks, how do I find a work ethic? I have trouble getting up and out to look for a job. Mark, that's a really honest question. I'm really glad you asked that, because a lot of people wouldn't have, to be honest, the guts to ask that, because they might perceive it as a weakness. A work ethic is something that I believe you kind of learn. Is it genetic? Possibly. Is it taught to you by your parents? Yes, often watching a role model, such as your mother, father, grandparents, whoever it might be. Get up and go to work every day at 5 a.m. and work 6 days, 7 days a week. Put in 12-hour shifts when they have kids and things like that. Or come home from school and get right to work around the house doing things, and then out on Saturday they're out there mowing the lawn, and on Sunday they're obligated to go to 5 different cookouts with their in-laws. These are the work ethic of the World War II generation. Is something I admire and I aspire to try to be like. I am here at the dojo often at 7 in the morning, and I leave at 8:30 at night. That is a long day, and that's why we have a successful dojo here. You can't come in for 3 hours a day and expect success. Success just meaning we haven't shut down. Over 50% of dojos were shut down last year due to COVID, and most did not survive. Our dojo survived, as a handful of others that I know of, but most of my friends' schools shut down completely. How can you not? When you're forced to stay home for several months, you can't pay the rent, your students quit and hibernate, there you go. You're going to lose your school, there's no doubt. So a work ethic did help last year, but it was by no means guaranteed, because many of my good friends have great work ethics, and it's just the way the cards fell. Their schools closed down. How do I find a work ethic? You get up in the morning and you make a habit of being good with your time. I find that most people don't have good time management. They complain and bitch and moan about things they can't do when they actually have 10 times the amount of time that's required to do what they want to do. A lot of people say, I don't have time to train. Well, how many hours did you spend watching Twitch yesterday? Well, 4. And then how much time did you sleep? Well, I slept 10 hours yesterday, and spent an hour in the bathroom, an hour at the store, at Starbucks, and went out shopping and laid in the sun for 3 hours, but I don't have time to train. We know, all of us watching know that that's a bunch of BS, yet we do it. Human nature is to make excuses for why we don't want to do the difficult things in our life. Having a work ethic is important. If you want to be successful or make a name for yourself or provide for your family, you have to have a wonderful work ethic. If you can't find a job, you go out and get another job. You hunt down until you find a job. You don't give up. You send out 20 applications. You don't just sign one. And then you follow up 3 days later on those applications with whoever you want the job with. I'm telling you, I'll hire someone that calls me back because it shows that they have a good work ethic. And when you say you're going to be somewhere, you show up. That is part of a work ethic. Those of you out there at school, you show up for college if you're paying for it. You get up in the morning and you go to high school on that day. You have that dreaded test. That is a work ethic. And it's a skill set, and it's something that can be learned, and it's something that will really serve you well in life if you get one. If you already have one, great. If you're exhausted because you work 12 hours a day, you have the work ethic already. But a lot of younger people don't have that, admittedly. A lot of younger people are becoming more and more lazy and obsessed with their technology and watching the news and the media, which is depressing the hell out of them and making them not want to go out into the world and challenge themselves with a good work ethic to find their dream and goal. And I wonder if as kids we were the same way. I'll bet the generation before us was complaining about us just as I am now. And I don't mean the whole generation, of course, because I know so many young people who are up in the dawn doing all their homework. They're going to school. They have extracurricular activities. They work a part-time job. I know so many young people who are role models as far as a great work ethic. It really is hard to say who has one and who doesn't unless we look at them individually. How do you find it? I don't know. You just have to get out there and do it, and then it becomes a habit. Then you start to wake up earlier and do more in the day, and you're tired at night and you sleep better, and you really feel like your life has a sense of purpose when you have a good work ethic, and you're going to make more money, and you'll have more success. You'll get the promotion because you put in more time than anyone else. That is part of it. Bernadette says, I saw a bunch of books on your shelves in the background. Can you please show them to me so I can see what you recommend? Yeah, at the end of the video, Bernadette, I'll bring you over to the bookshelf and show you some of our books. So stay tuned, okay? Farnworth, which teacher has the best techniques? What books do you look at? I have a lot of source books. What teacher has the best techniques? I don't know. I have several teachers in my life that I love and adore. Some are no longer with us. Some have passed away. Some have moved on or quit the martial arts. So most of my teachers I have outlasted because for whatever reason they are no longer involved in martial arts. But doesn't mean I don't learn from them and will never forget the lessons that they gave me. I have a lot of source books. I have 6 or 7 that I use for classes when I prepare. So I get all these different sources out, DVD sources as well, but mostly books. And I go over each technique. I learn the kanji, what it means, what the principle of the technique is that I'm showing that night. I also develop drills around it so that we can practice the moves in the technique, what are called waza. We practice those on targets, full speed. What ukemi are we going to do? Does it involve a front roll, a back roll, dodging something, blocking? What type of kick is in the kata? What type of footwork's in the kata, the tai sabaki? What type of mai distancing is there? Do we need to put gloves on, or is this more of a grappling technique? All kinds of things. Teachers never agree on techniques. Every source that I have contradicts the other, and this is something that will frustrate the heck out of teachers out there. You go to look at a technique, this guy does it this way, this guy does it that way, she does it this way, the master says it that way, the grandmaster says do it this way, the guy with the big ego says they're all wrong and do it my way. This is something that will frustrate you, but it will really up your knowledge because you have to sift through that with research, kind of like Indiana Jones looking for a treasure, and you'll find the kaname, you'll find the principle or principles in that kata by looking at everyone else's and seeing what they have in common. But yes, it's frustrating because human ego with all the teachers says, do it my way, or this kanji doesn't mean this, it means that. And most of the time, half of them are dead wrong because they haven't done the research, but that's another video. Yes, it's good to have a bunch of books on your shelves so that you can consult them with your technique, especially if you're teaching a large group. You want to make sure that you are prepared for class, you take good notes. Don't just wing it because students can see right through that. Do you teach the Bujinkan style? It looks way more real and better than what I see on YouTube. Thank you. Partly Bujinkan, partly Toshindo, partly Jiu-Jitsu, partly Judo, partly Karate, partly Aikido, all kinds of martial arts I steal from over the years and add to our curriculum. If it works and I think it's valid, I add it. If I think it's unrealistic, it's 400 years old, it doesn't apply to the way we fight in America and the way we think and move and our skeletal structure and our strength and our culture, I'll jettison it and get rid of it. Or find the kaname and put it in another technique. Many of the techniques of the Bujinkan are very unrealistic. I don't care what anyone says, they are. Because they're meant to be fighting in armor, and you move a certain way when you wear armor. I don't know how many of you out there have ever put on a full suit of Japanese armor. I have many times, and it completely changes the way you move. All of a sudden those techniques come alive when you're in the armor and you see what these guys wrote down on the scroll and why they wrote it this way. It makes sense. I'm on a horse It makes sense. I can't move a certain way because I'm wearing these huge shoulder plates. I'm wearing a helmet. I can only see this much. That's why the footwork is that way. But you also have to be real and take that knowledge and translate it at a kuden and make it modern so that you can use it now. Otherwise, you're just a technique collector and a librarian. You're just doing something that is obsolete for the fun of it. And that's fine. You could do that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with studying old scrolls. We need those people. But my job and my students want from me to show me how to defend myself, which we talked about earlier. What happens when a 350-pound guy gets on the mount? How am I going to get out of that? What do I do when someone gets me in a bear hug and I weigh 90 pounds and their arms are huge? How do I break free of a full Nelson? These are all valid questions that a lot of the techniques from these old styles aren't realistic. They would not work with any bit of resistance. I don't even think I see hook punches addressed half the time in the martial art that I study. That's why I have several, and we're so fortunate here at the dojo that we are not stuck to any one organization where they force you to teach their style in a certain way. I am free and privileged enough that I can take martial arts and adapt them and add them to our curriculum. Matter of fact, I'm working on a new curriculum book right now where I'm taking out some techniques that didn't work very well, and I found some better ones that will serve the students' needs better for the particular country and place and time that we live in. But I love the Bujinkan. I love its principles. I love the teachers. There are some really great Bujinkan practitioners out there, and there are some terrible ones. Just like anything else, you have the good and the bad. Our weaknesses that we have here at the dojo, we work on every single day. We address them head on, full speed ahead. We have a coaches meeting this Saturday, an instructors meeting where we go over not just the techniques, but how to teach them. How are we failing in class to transmit the knowledge with the kids and the adults? How can we do it better and better? And we practice and we role play things so that we can get better. This is all part of the huge, wonderful practitioners of martial arts. There's so much involved in it. It is a lifetime endeavor. Glock God, what are your thoughts on technology addiction? Do your students ever ask you about it? Yeah, some do. Technology is great. Without it, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. It has made our lives so much easier. Therefore, we become lazier because we don't have to toil the fields like we used to in past generations. We were not evolved to sit around and watch a television all day. Our bodies were built to go out and dig and survive and forage for food and work from sun up till sundown. So technology is very dangerous in a certain way that it's making us lazy and soft and uninspired and without purpose in life. And it's allowing many of us, myself included, to just watch away our life. You watch it on a screen. You don't even have to do anything anymore. You can just be what you're watching. And that's sad, and I hope that you guys out there are highly aware of the dangers of technology and how important it is to unplug and to get closer to nature and our family. How often are you at a restaurant and you watch a family who is literally like this the whole time while they're eating, and they have wonderful family around them and they're not talking to them? How insulting is it to have your phone at a table when you have a friend right there? And to take a call. Oh, sorry, I have to take this. This could be someone very, very important. Just hold it there for a minute. Can you imagine that? But people do it all the time. Our technology has become our best friend. It's become our teacher. And it's become our psychologist. And my opinion is get rid of as much of it as you can and get back to basics. Get out in the sunshine. Turn off the television and play with the cat on the floor. Clean the house. Get off of Twitch and get out in the yard and grab a stick and become your own Call of Duty warrior. These are just an old man bitching about it, but it has a lot of truth to it. Most of you out there agree with exactly what I'm saying. Technology is a two-headed snake. It can save our life, as it has the healthcare systems, the technology to find different cancers and things now is unimaginable 50 years ago. And I can't wait to see where the AI goes and things like that. But On the flip side, it is also destroying our lives, making us die quicker, and really depressing the heck out of us because we're seeing such perfection through our technology. You go on whatever platform it is and you see perfect people with how they upload photos and have this perfect life, and of course it's not true, but we think it is, and then we hate our own life, we hate ourselves, we can't get the work ethic we talked about, we feel that we can't get out of the house, we don't know where to begin, we feel like we have no purpose, and then you get all depressed, and technology is a huge part of that. Try to minimize it as much as possible. The best parts of your life will often come when you are not on a device of any kind. Don't waste the relationships around you and the time with people who are here to talk to you and love you and communicate with you if you just give them an opportunity and turn off your device and talk to them. This is something that we can all learn from. Can you guys hear the rain? It's really coming down. We need the rain here. It's been so hot and dry. I don't think we've had rain in like 8 or 9 days here, and everything's burnt up. I went to mow the lawn the other day and it was just such a dry heap of crunch, but it needed it. But I'm so fortunate and happy to see that wonderful rain coming down, making the flowers happy and cleaning off our cars and helping with crops and things like that. So it's really wonderful to look outside and see that pouring rain. Bob, is your throwing star lesson out yet? Yes, the DVD is ready. A lot of people make fun of DVDs. Are they obsolete? No, they're still very popular. A lot of people like physical media, so it can't be edited or adjusted. They want something physical, like a book. They may not like to read a book online or go to a little 2-inch screen to watch a video. They want to put a DVD on their Blu-ray player or their DVD player, and they want it on a huge 70-inch TV screen. There you go with technology, right? Being a good thing in this case. But yeah, the Shuriken thing is ready. For those of you who are interested, you can get it on eBay. Just go to the Dojo Martial Arts on eBay, and there's a bunch of products that people here at the school sell. You can also download it digitally. Very soon we're working on a platform on Vimeo where you can go and purchase different lessons on different weapons and unarmed combat, mind training, all kinds of stuff. That'll be ready probably in September. I'm working with someone at the dojo here that's doing that for us, so it'll be available in physical form on the DVDs or in digital form within the next several weeks or a month. Thank you for that. Aren't Shuriken fun? I love the throwing star. I remember that, seeing that on Kung Fu with David Carradine, and there was a ninja character. This is like in the 1970s, before my time really, but I was just a little kid, and the ninja were throwing these big black throwing stars at David Carradine. I was like, what is that thing? It was awesome. I know you are frustrated about shipping costs in the world, but for us who are in the US, will you do another giveaway? I saw my name last time and I almost won the sake set. Yes, we'll do another giveaway. The sake set was won by Jasper from Kentucky. I'll put his photo up. Congratulations, Jasper, on winning that. But yeah, we'll do another giveaway. You're right. Shipping costs are crazy right now. I was at Walmart this morning at about 6:30 in the morning getting water and stuff, and the water was gone. Paper towels are gone again. I'm like, what's going on? There's such a shortage of supplies in the world from last year's COVID, which is continuing. They call it the shipping apocalypse, and it's a true thing. There's many stories about it where freight is being stuck in oceans and on docks and things for months at a time. It's just really backlogged. And I noticed that the shipping costs, whenever we have products here shipped, or one of my helpers ships out mail and stuff, that when you ship to another country, it's like tripled in price. And that's why on the last giveaway I said we're not doing any foreign countries, because it was costing us $100 to ship one little thing. And I'm not rich, and to give something away free is a good thing, but I'm not going to go bankrupt giving something away to our wonderful audience. So we will do another giveaway, but it'll probably be again for the near future, just for US or Canadian residents, because the shipping might be $30 versus $130. And even something like a DVD has gone up from, it used to be $3. I think now the last receipt that we saw was $8 for basic priority shipping. Crazy costs that we, the consumer, have to absorb. But we will do another giveaway for sure because I love doing those, and I hope you guys win as much as you can. We'll do one probably at the end of this week. I have a really busy week coming up. One of our wonderful students, Miss Ramesh, is going off to college this Thursday, so we have a party for her on Thursday. We have coaches meeting Saturday. Gyoko Ryu's Wednesday night. We're going into the second scroll. We've been having fun with that. In this particular scroll, we're working with how to defend against weapons. You don't have a sword and the guy has a sword. He's trying to kill you. Here are some techniques from the Gyoko Ryu and how to stop that assailant. Tomorrow we have the Tenchi Jin class. We're working on Kyusho. Kyusho are weak points of the body, not pressure points, because pressure points don't often work. A lot of it's bunkum, it doesn't work. But weak points are, we have a chart of 60 places on the body that you can hit, kick, elbow, headbutt, whatever it is, that are weak. Structurally weak with fiber so that you can really hurt someone. Hollows of the body where there's no bone protecting it so you can hit certain areas. Eyes, lips, ears, things like that you can attack. That is quote-unquote dirty fighting, but it's realistic battlefield fighting. This is why this is not a sport. You can't do this stuff. All of those 60 points would be forbidden in a sport because you'd be disqualified. You can't go out and get into a tournament with a 25-year-old guy and then punch him in the throat with a Shikan can so he coughs up blood. You'd be disqualified. But that's what I love about this martial art, is it's so brutal and effective. I can't get enough of it. A week from Saturday, we have Mr. and Mrs. Hayes coming. Anshu Stephen Hayes, you've heard of him, Black Belt Hall of Fame member. He's been my instructor for 35-ish years now. I met him in 1983 when I was 13. Have all of his books. He's written like 24, 25 books on the ninja. He was the guy that started the ninja in the US pretty much, and most of us would not be here without him. So he is a 10th degree black belt. He created the art of Toshindo, which I also teach here and have a teaching license in. His wife Rumiko Urata Hayes is also coming. She's a 10th Dan as well, and she brings about a perspective coming from the smaller female side. It's fantastic to see how someone my size will attack her, and she'll use taijutsu to move around and defeat someone who's stronger and faster. This is what I love again about our martial arts. It doesn't rely on strength or speed. It relies on intelligence and footwork and understanding the skeletal structure of the body. They'll be coming in 2 weeks to spend 5 hours here at the dojo teaching us, and we're just going to sponge all of the stuff that they say. Because they're getting up there. They just gave their school to my friend Shane up in Dayton, so they're no longer teaching actively. They've given their school over. They're semi-retiring, although he'll be around to do seminars. Matter of fact, ours is the first seminar he's done in like a year. And I love reconnecting with old teachers. I have teachers in all different martial arts, and I sometimes feel bad that I can't push one up to the top all the time. In other words, I have to rotate my teachers from different arts coming in while being respectful to the others that I didn't invite. Mr. Hayes is coming this time. Arno was here the year before last, and other teachers, but I never mean to disrespect one teacher when I invite another. It's just that myself and my student base wants to hear from other perspectives. They want more than one teacher to come in and show them movements. That doesn't mean I don't like another teacher. It just means that I'm working with this teacher right now at this time. But I will come back to the others, and I highly respect my other teachers. I have so many, and they all bring about wonderful things to our dojo. But I can't afford to have 5 teachers here at once. Once per year, twice per year, we'll have an instructor come in, a special guest. But, and then they rotate. Every couple of years, the next teacher comes in. If you have a small organization or a small school, you don't have to worry about that stuff because you'll probably have one teacher, maybe two, and you don't have to worry about an amalgam of other martial arts. You just have one style, you stick with that, which is good. But I have chosen the path that has 4 or 5 different arts that I teach. Therefore, I need high-level instructors to come in and continue my education as well, even though I've been doing it forever. I still need to learn from my teachers who are now in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And that natural progression will go. So one day I'll teach my students who are in their 20s and teens, and then they'll continue, and then we'll die off. It's this wonderful cycle of life that we are privileged to be part of, to be a steward in, and to continue our martial art into the next generation. And hopefully 1, 2, or 3 of the students that I'm teaching now will take that knowledge and run with it, open their own school, develop that work ethic, and carry on the tradition that I've given my life to in service. Thank you guys for watching. It was a long-winded Q&A, but a lot of you like these things. Even though they're not physical in nature, they do tend to help us and answer some of our questions. And of course, they bring about new questions and concerns, and that's just part of the game. I appreciate your time. I'm going to go out and enjoy the rain. I have to run to the store, but I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you live in the world. I hope that you continue your training, or that you re-engage in your training, or that you start for the first time. Everyone has to start somewhere. Until next time, my friends, we'll see you. Bye-bye.